Peace, everybody. Welcome to your first episode of CHUCG Talk. CHUCG Talk will be a series of episodes of simply conversation. It's things to talk about, things to think about, things to be in community about. My name is Lee Jordan. I'm from Black Youth Institute.
Peace, y'all. I'm Brother Eric, and I'm from Black Youth Institute as well.
So, part of today, we like to start the show off just to kind of bring everybody together. And Brother Eric is going to start us off with our joke of the day. If it's not funny, let us know. If it is, laugh with us.
All right. I mean, we'll figure that out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm borrowing this joke, and since it's food related, our work is about food. We'll talk about that in a minute. But my joke is, well, I'll ask you since it's just me and you here.
Okay.
Why did the little boy eat his homework?
The little boy ate his homework.
Right. Since Corona going on, people got homework at home. Why did he eat his homework?
I don't know. Said it was a piece of cake?
Because his teacher said it was a piece of cake. That's what I'm talking about. Get it? It was a piece of cake, easy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm...
I get it.
Y'all get... Okay. Yeah. All right. It's a piece of cake.
That's
if
right.
y'all didn't like it,
Right.
I learned it off of Laffy Taffy back in my days when I used to eat banana Laffy Taffy.
Ooh, shucks.
You know Laffy Taffies, right?
I'm familiar with Laffy Taffy.
Was that a good joke? No.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good.
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
Right.
You know, it's our joke of the day. Unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately.
Oh.
It's
Unfortunate. Okay.
that's so.
All right. I'm Brother Eric. I'm Serving Director of Black Youth Institute. We are the organization that steward CHUG. CHUG stands for Cherry Urban Community Garden. And to be honest with you, my job is not to do jokes. My job, Lee set me up. But we'll talk about that at another point. Maybe that'll be a topic for next week. Psych, I'm joking, we got a topic for next week. We'll talk about that later. But our work is about black liberation. Our work, really, if this was a math equation, it would be black power and black liberation plus food equals black land and food sovereignty, right? And that's what we do. You see it here. That's what we do. That's what we're doing. One of the things that we do is recognizing and producing a reality that we can grow our own food. Black people can grow our own food. Poor people can grow our own food, and we can grow food in our community. And so that's a bit of what we do, and that's what CHUG is. But we do a little more. Maybe in another episode we'll get a chance to talk more about what we do. But that's what we do. That's what we are. Not just introducing ourselves, but also introducing our organization and why we do what we do.
Yes, sir. Well said. Per usual. Y'all don't know by now. Brother Eric's if y'all don't know by now, Brother Eric's a bad man, but he's gonna keep it humble and not right. So every episode we're going to talk about one topic and build off that topic. Our topic for today is going to be what everybody's been talking about, what's been affecting everybody, what's really has everybody kind of feeling insecure right now, which is COVID-19.
Donald Trump.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Donald Trump.
My fault.
My fault. I'm sorry.
I was going to say COVID-19. Obviously, there's two answers to the question, and I should have thought that through before I picked the topic. But the topic is coronavirus, COVID-19. COVID-19 was really affecting all of our lives right now.
COVID-18.
No, it's COVID-19.
Okay.
COVID-19. Yeah, because if you really didn't know, the guy who made Corona was born on. I ain't even going. Because if I start that, nah, I ain't. Because I don't even want y'all. I shouldn't even.
Yeah, you tripping.
It's all good. So so our topic is Corona. And so let's talk about it. How you feel about it, Brother Eric? What's your thoughts on it? How have you seen it affect folks, and how has it affected you?
It's interesting. So I've seen a bit of just different responses to it. I'll be honest with you, my personal reaction to COVID-19, to be real, I'm trying to respect everybody. I know we're trying to keep it PG-13, but you know what? If you read between the lines, COVID-19. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Okay.
I personally have been like not only like bumped, COVID-19. Our work has really pivoted a bit, you know what I mean? And so I know you know this, everybody doesn't know, but our work is not about food charity, you know what I mean? And so we've gone from, we had to pivot because we recognize our people need food. When the stores shut down, when everything shut down, and when folks are out of toilet paper and bleach and they're out of their shelf stable goods and all of that, it's somebody got to come up with it. So we teamed up with a couple of organizations on the ground. Youth Resiliency Institute is one of them. Raising, Rich. It's Restoring Inner City Hope. Cherry Hill Development Corporation and Elevate Baltimore and Black Youth Institute came together to make sure people have good food. So in doing that, we've been, as you can see, we got our masks. And shout out to Micah's natural design course and community really helped us with these. Thank y'all. Y'all gonna pay us for that promo. But anyway, all of that to say, like, my personal opinion is that, like, this moment has really shown how people can connect with one another in ways that maybe we didn't have the opportunity to. We've been slowed down and really thinking about how we actually engage in mutual aid. So we shifted our work to mutual aid rather than, like, it's a part of our strategy, mutual aid, making sure that our people are good. So we've been forced to do it. So I've been feeling good that I've been able to build relationships, deepen relationships, and then, to be honest, to be able to just like take a moment to refocus, you know what I mean? So I've been personally feeling good about it. I feel excited. But then also I've know and respect and honor the fact that people, haven't had the best experience, Some people actually have been in the house the whole time that are not fortunate to come to a space and interact with people, and perform mutual aid. And so in doing so, for me, man, I feel like I'm privileged because everybody don't have an opportunity to leave. And so I know I've been hearing folks have been struggling. Mental health been struggling, folks been home, they haven't been able to feel the breeze. Folks live in different types of situations. And so I'm really hoping that people are able to get some joy from this, that at least this moment has created a lot of challenges. People's families have passed, people have lost their businesses. A lot of things have happened, but I just want to add a nugget that, like, this has been a time to not only be good stewards of our relationships, like I talked about, and deeper relationships, but to be good with our resources, you know what I'm saying, and think about what resources we have and what we don't, and using them as the best that we can, as many black people and other marginalized people have learned to do. And then lastly, man, our reason. So, like, we gotta be good stewards of our minds, our reason and how we do our work, our resources and our relationships. That's a revelation that came to me during this time.
Absolutely. Hey, I'll be honest, I'm in agreement with everything in agreement with everything you said.
What about you? What's your personal experience? Like, how you?
So for me, I've come to a place where I've learned that we live in this kind of world where at times you're going to see monsters, right? And by monsters, I mean these big things that we see them, we size them up, and we don't know what to do about them as a whole, as a unit, as a globe, right? So obviously COVID-19 is a monster, and I think that the scariest qualities of it I've seen have been the food and the mental health. And those two things are literally two of the most important things to focus on and invest in order to live a healthy life, right? In order to be healthy and live a fruitful life. But I say food because it really, so I generally, okay, let me take a step back. For me, Corona has made me pretty much put a microscope on all these different things I see in community, different things I see in the world, right? It made me really focus on the shift of emotion that everybody are having, right? Now it's like, okay, where the farmers at, right? Now it's like, we need the farmers, we need, how much can we do? How long, right? Now everybody, and, even if we didn't just say the farmers, now it's like, where the store clerks at? Where the folks who, the trash man still coming? You got all these different things now, right? And it's like, I think we're really starting to learn to appreciate the things that we put in the hindsight before. And the reason why I said food is because, I mean, of course, you know, I mean, farmers and that's our source, right? That's farmers all across the world, because like I said, everybody's affected at this point.
Right.
So like farmers, you know what I mean, you lose out on them being able to produce, you know what I mean, or even produce fast enough at this point, because nobody, you know what I mean, the grocery stores are starting to dry up in reality.
Right.
And you think about how folks don't invest in farmers as much as I think we should, you know what I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But and granted, there are some farmers that are doing very well off and have great investments, but I know personally black farmers who have been doing a lot on a small scale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And folks like that, it's important to invest in, not when you need them, but you know what I mean. Just, I guess, actually detaching the corona from it and seeing how valuable that role is in the community, right? So it's like start to really appreciate the things that we don't appreciate when we got it, you know what I mean, when we have it. And the last thing I said was mental health, and that's simply just because even being in your own house, you know what I mean, seeing the same thing every day, that can actually literally drive you insane, right? That seeing the same thing, doing the same thing every day, that can actually drive you insane. So folks who've never experienced this, or folks who've folks who probably leave their house every day their whole lives, you know what I mean? So you got folks now who got to sit behind their walls and find something to do at home, who can't even go to work, you know what I mean? We are in this space where like you don't get a choice, you know what I mean? At this point your life is controlled, you know what I mean? So it's scary, you got to deal with that, but then you also got to deal with the anxiety of corona, and then you got to deal with you know what I mean, anytime you interact with somebody, you got to walk away wondering or thinking, or you know what I mean, were you careful enough? And then I think the most intense thing, this is the last piece I'll say about it, is the deaths, the amount of deaths I've seen. And I'm no expert at all, but it can't be healthy for these amount of deaths to be going on. And from my understanding, folks haven't been getting a proper chance to grieve. You know what I mean? Yeah. Funerals have been cut short. Right. People, family members have been taken away. They have never seen them again. You know what I mean? A picture maybe, but never seen the actual person again. So, you know what I mean? That stuff, I think, once existed to us only in like theater and films, right. But I think we're learning that like there are real monsters in this world, and like you know what I mean, we obviously fighting one right now. So yeah. I'm also about COVID-19. You know what I mean? It's taking a lot from us and it's shaking up our world.
You know what's interesting, bro? I'm gonna be honest with you. This is something that came to me after you were talking, but something that I remember. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest impacts that we've had is really around like COVID-19's impact on people's culture, right? You talked about grieving. Mm-hmm. In the past, I did a post on IG, a quick video about like social distancing, mm-hmm. and how it is like it's difficult for communal people, mm-hmm. including black people, mm-hmm. brown people, other people who are just used to being in community. It's difficult to adhere to what the so-called experts are telling us to do, because that's not what we've practiced. We practiced like the first week of our response here at the Cherry Hill Resource Center was really tough. It was hard not seeing somebody after 15 years and not giving them a hug and stuff like that.
Right.
To be honest with you, the first 2 weeks, we ain't had masks, we ain't had nothing. Like it was just like, yo, I ain't seen you in a minute. It was like a family reunion. Right. People posting up, we had music. It was almost like a cookout in August, you know what I'm saying? In anybody's hood at your grandparents' backyard. And it was difficult. And even with grieving, different communities got different way of grieving. You think about people, particularly groups of indigenous peoples, whether it's from West Africa or indigenous to this land, who have weeks long of like ceremony where, you know, our so-called dead, it's like the burying ritual is getting them to the other side, to the ancestral side. You can't do that during this time, because if you do it, then you facing jail time, you know what I mean? So it's just an interesting thing that like COVID-19 has had an impact on people's culture, and how not only how we grieve, but also just how we socialize across the board.
I agree.
It's just been difficult. That's something that I've really seen as a problem. But I also would say this: COVID-19 has presented opportunities, right? It presented an opportunity for us to be able to take all the infrastructure that we have, all the capacity we have to take in food, procure food, warehouse it, get it out to our community, not only in Cherry Hill, South Baltimore, and then outside of, and then Baltimore in general. But also it's creating opportunities for us to reimagine what the world gonna be like after this. Cause like COVID-19 exacerbated food access issues. It didn't create it.
There you go.
Like you was talking,
There
like,
you
yo,
go.
this is stuff that was already
Now,
here,
yeah.
now in the world. Like,
Right.
oh, that's tough. So
Yeah.
people living in South Baltimore, people living in Park Heights, people living in, in other communities in East and West and North and South Baltimore are dealing with the same type of issues that's happening
Across the board.
across, like, exactly,
Across the
right,
board.
throughout the African diaspora and throughout the world. That's like, oh,
That's
so
a
when
scary
people start
thing.
giving statistics, right, you start talking about like, well, living in a certain place in inner cities in the United States of America is like living in a third world country or in a
Right.
development country. These moments actually exacerbate and pull the lid off of the fact that, yo, people really are dealing with it. The stores closed down. First of all, the little bit that we got, right?
Yeah.
They shut down,
Yeah.
and then it's like, yo, I don't even know where to get a gallon of milk from.
There you go.
I even, to be honest, maybe we should have made
If
this
it's
a
any
joke of
there.
the day, unfortunately. But like, yo, I saw a video where a lady, she offered up some services, if you know what I mean, for like, yo, for some toilet paper and a donut, yo.
That's real.
You hear me?
That's real.
Like, oh no, a donut and some services for toilet paper.
Hey,
You feel me? And when I say services, y'all know what I'm talking about. Yo, like, we in that time.
Yeah.
We in that
It's
time. So
scary,
like, it's
man.
created a challenging perspective, but it also gives us, I think, those who work toward liberation, those who organize, it's our moment. And those who just willing to live and imagine, it's our moment to imagine the world that we want to see after this moment. A world that's more equitable, a world that is more fair, a world that is controlled, where people control our own destinies. And in doing so, I honestly feel like, man, we got to be able to do, you got to be able to see it in order, if you do it. In our
There you
staff
go.
meeting earlier, I talked
There you
about
go.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can't create a world that you can't see before you materialize it, right? You got to imagine the world and then go and move it out. You got to speak it and then you go and see it. So like, that's what this moment has created as an opportunity to sit back, create in our minds, see something, project it, put it out our mouth, and work towards it. And I think that, like, I'm gonna use every ounce of energy and power that I have to make sure that
Right.
Cherry Hill, that Black Baltimore, that Baltimore in general, is not the same after this moment. I'm serious about that, and
Yeah.
it may not happen right after, but
No, that's real. That's real. I think I'm gonna speak to a little bit with what you said. I think what I'm so proud of about, or what I'm so grateful of about Corona, is that it kind of gave the world a mirror. It made us look at ourselves and be like, this what we look like, or this what we doing, this what we've been doing. You know what I mean? So when you think about, like you said, even the farmers, like, they've been here. You know what I mean? So it's like all the different things you're stepping over, and that should be perceived as highly valuable. You know what I mean? Now you starting to look at it, and even on the lower scale, I think Corona gave us a mirror for ourselves as well, though. Like, being in them houses and having to really sit in your own home and be quarantined, you kind of forced to look at yourself, right? You kind of forced to question, you know what I mean, yourself and your morals and what you got going on. And I personally myself want to even enlighten the experience, because I grind every day, just like most people. You know, I grind every day, and then sometimes you get in that hamster wheel. Things are going right, and but being at home made me really reflect on myself as a new dad, as a leader, as an organizer. You know what I mean, as a brother, as a boyfriend, multiple things, right? So it gives you a chance to really do your homework on yourself and better yourself, and I think that's a blessing. You know what I mean? Because some people actually don't have time for that. You know what I mean? Actually, some people have to go to work, go to sleep, take care of children. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to get mixed into that. But the next question I had, and you spoke to it a little bit, the aftermath, man. What is it? What's the world going to be like? And I mean, like, the world, because this is my first experience. I'm 26. This is my first experience ever seeing, like, the world be affected, right? I'm talking like it's booming CNN down. So it's like, I'm really trying to understand what's next. What it's going to be like.
I can't speak for it across the board, but what I can say is that I promise you, Lee, you already talked about it already. People are looking to the producers. Who's got food?
Yeah.
What are people doing these days? What can I plug into? What can I connect to? And to be honest, this has created opportunities for us to showcase what we've been doing. We've gotten a lot of donors. Thank you for the donors.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you for those who contributed not only money, but contributed prayers, their thoughts to our efforts. Man, I think, to be honest with you, like what I'm hoping to contribute to is a world that looks like that shows from the funders, from the many people who have money, independent donors, to our community, that this is the opportunity for us to make the case for our own selves to control our destiny. We talk often about the American dream, and Baba Malcolm X talked about the American dream, and he talked about black people experiencing the American nightmare. But I will say this, that if the American dream is anything like what people have spoken to, it is the ability, if nothing else, it's as simple as this, the ability to control your own destiny. And from an African-centered standpoint, our own destiny is not an individualistic one, it's a collective one. So in communities where we live, on our own blocks, in our own communities, if we're not able to, in our own families, I should say, if we're not able to say, this is what it's going to look like, I want to buy this property, or we're going to put a garden in our backyard, or we're going to see each other 4 times a year, whatever, the world's going to look like whatever we want it to. Only the fool will take this opportunity lightly and not see this as a new opportunity to create something. It's not a blank canvas, but COVID-19 has given us an opportunity to drain all of the coloring off of the coloring book, off of the coloring page. Now is our opportunity to put in the colors and live and live in color for ourselves. If we don't do it, then we're fools. Like that, and I really mean that in all respect, but this gives us an opportunity to present for ourselves. We've shown that these things are inequitable. We've shown that people don't care about where our food comes from. We've shown that folks don't care about how our children are educated and all of that. We don't have all the resources we need. And so what I think is that post-COVID-19, it's going to look like whatever we wanted to, but we got to do it now, right now. For real.
Yeah.
My fault. I didn't even mean to get into it.
No, you got it in. You got it in. You're going to see me
That's
starting
how I
at you
feel.
when you watch
My
the video.
fault.
Yeah, no, you got it in. You got it in. But no, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And I'm also, I think all in all, I think it sums up to a priority check. I think it sums up to being like what matters, right? Or like you said, the conversation about equity, right? And equality, if you want to, versus equality, if you want to even do that. But I think it's really like a real gut check, a real priority check. It's going to make us really focus on the things we need, what's a necessity, right? And not what's an investment, but what do we need in this world, right? You know what I mean? So that's really, man, I'm just thinking about it. That's really it's gonna be a sight to see. I know it's a scary time, but I'm really appreciative to even be alive and something like this. It's something to live through, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't wish it ever to come back. I wouldn't wish it to be here in the first place, but. You know what I mean? You read about things in our old history books and social studies, you know what I mean? And you read about the Great Depression and stuff like that. So it's like part of a world pandemic type thing, so.
And it creates, look, it really does, like, and I'm gonna be quiet after this, but for real, it creates an opportunity for us to imagine how strong we can be.
Facts.
If nothing else, like, I think I read a quote from Bob Marley who said something like, he said something like, you don't know how strong you can be until strong is all you have to be. This is the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
for real. And I'm not trying to say, like,
Yeah.
I know there are people who have, you know, different types of, like, you know, ego strengths. But we got, like, this is an opportunity for us to make that happen. Like, that's just what it comes down to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this has shown us we can be strong and we can get through it. And those who passed on during this time, we owe them making the world different than this moment. It's just a pause. It's that speed bump that you ride down the street. You gotta slow down. You gotta, you know what I mean? Depending on how your muffler is, if you grew up with the type of lemons I grew up with, you gotta stop your car and get out and push it like, you know what I mean, like the Flintstones. Get over the hump, and then after you get out of neutral, you put it in drive and you move forward in a new trajectory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. But I know we're gonna talk a little more about this next show, about Black land and food sovereignty. Absolutely. But also what it's gonna look like after this. Or we gonna get us a grocery store in South Baltimore. I'm telling you,
it's a must.
Hey,
it's a must.
You gotta hit us.
Before,
you gotta hit us on this for real. Like,
definitely a must.
We'll talk to you about that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that concludes our topic for today. At our next show, next episode, if you will, we'll be talking about black land and food sovereignty, what it means to you, what it means to us, how it's infused in our work, how our work is that. Please though, send us your questions, send us your thoughts, send us anything you might want to know, anything you might want to understand, and we'll definitely talk about it on the show.
So you should know that we are doing our show every 2 weeks. So after today, May 1st, happy May to everybody too.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo.
Our next one is May 15th. Check in with us. Like Brother Lee said, please DM us in the IG at Black Yield or Facebook, Black Yield Institute, Twitter. Any questions that you have about black land and food sovereignty, what it means, things that you want us to answer, and we'll get them being questions right. All right, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for getting into and tuning into our first show. I appreciate. Ain't no questions, bro.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I appreciate y'all on everything.
I had a
It ain't no question.
I said that.
We'll do it for the next time. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all.
Peace.
Peace.